morning, friends. Greetings. What is up, America? And welcome to the Brightside, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado, registered pharmacist number 12275. I specialize in using nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality and health and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to the Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body. You are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That is why we are here every day on the Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 27 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes and hypertension and obesity and skin diseases like acne, psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle. But what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system. It's a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing system a miracle, it really is no miracle at all. It is simply the way the body works. If you have questions about health or nutrition or prescription drugs, let us help you. We welcome your phone calls at 855-660-4261. Try to get on board early so we can get to as many calls as possible at 855-660-4261. If you have questions about the longevity products, the ones I take and the ones I recommend, 855-660-4261 is your call-in number. Of course, if you have a success story, we love hearing those. And if you want to just contribute to the conversation, 855-660-4261 is your number on the Bright Side. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products that you hear us talk about or advertise on the program, you can either head over to brightsideben.com and take a look at our shopping cart, or you can call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470. And make sure you ask about joining the Brightside Ben team. You can make some money selling longevity products and get your products at the wholesale price. Help spread the word about the importance of a good nutritional supplement program. You can also enjoy all the tax benefits associated with having your own business for a one-time $10 fee. They can tell you all about it at 866-735-2470, or you can click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com. Also want to encourage you to check out my blog, pharmacistben.com, which we update regularly with news stories as well as blog posts. Thank you to my webmaster, Robert Lundgren. And if you're in the Santa Cruz area, in the Bay Area, Santa Cruz, San Francisco, Napa, and you want to come by, I'm going to be doing a talk at the Vintage Faith Church in Santa Cruz on March the 7th at 6:30 p.m. Love to see you out there if you're out in the Bay Area. All right. We're talking about connective tissue. We last left off talking about high blood pressure, hypertension. We said how antihypertensive drugs, beta blocker drugs, and calcium channel blogs are not only among the most dangerous and toxic of all pharmaceuticals, but just dispensing and using antihypertensive drugs is one of the craziest of all the pharmacological health strategies you can use. And there's a lot of crazy medical pharmacological health strategies. And among the craziest is using antihypertensive drugs. If you have a blood pressure problem, if you have a pressure problem, that means nutrients aren't getting into cells. That means toxins aren't getting drained from cells. Pressure is how cells depend on pressure to be fed. Cells depend on pressure for drainage of toxins. Cells depend on pressure for oxygen. If the pressure is building up in your circulatory system, the answer is not to stop the pump. The answer is not to poison the pump and stop the pressure. You got to figure out, why is the pressure building up and why is the blood not getting to cells? What is causing the clogging? If you take an antihypertensive drug, you may lower the pressure in terms of numbers, but it's not going to make you healthier. It's only going to make you sicker. And I'm not even talking about side effects here. Leave alone the side effects. Just the side effects on these antihypertensive drugs are hideous enough. Go read the package insert on your beta blocker drug, on your metoprolol, or on your Inderal, your propranolol, whatever it is you're taking. Read the package insert on your calcium channel blocker. But aside from the fact that you're going to have to deal with side effects with these drugs, when you take a drug that stops your heart, that's what these things do. Yes, literally. That doesn't stop it completely, obviously, but it stops it enough. It stops it enough to stop the pressure. And if you take a drug that's going to slow down the heart and slow down the pressure, and you already have a problem with blood reaching the cells and blood draining the cells, now you got more problems. And that doesn't even have anything to do with the side effects. The worst thing, people, you could ever do if you have high blood pressure is take an antihypertensive drug. I'm not talking about a hypertensive crisis where you don't have any options, but if you have just moderately high blood pressure, you don't want to take an antihypertensive drug, which is going to clog things up more. It's just going to cause less drainage of toxins, cause less oxygen to cells, less food to cells. The chemistry of the body, the metabolism of the body depends in large measure on pressure. Antihypertensive drugs stop pressure, and that means cells aren't fed, breathed, or detoxified as effectively as they should be. And that means cell defects, cell death, which will lead to more defensive reactions, i.e. immune inflammatory responses, as the body attempts to clean up the mess. And you can use nutrients, by the way, that's for sure. You can use magnesium if you have high blood pressure, 2,000 milligrams a day. You can use time to release niacin, maybe 200 milligrams a day or so, CoQ10. You can use other nutrients. You want to be on the Healthy Start Pack. You want to be on the Mighty 90. You absolutely want to make sure you're getting these basic nutrients. Your body's going to appreciate these nutrients, but as long as your lymph and your circulatory system is clogged with dirt that's getting in from the digestive tract, it's going to be difficult for fluid to move around. Pressure's going to build up. The heart's going to have to work harder. And that's going to add more burden to the body, and it's going to cause a big, big mess. Connective tissue breakdown and hypertension, by the way, go hand in hand. We've been talking about how connective tissue breaks down. Well, connective tissue breakdown is part of the high blood pressure problem. Your lymphatic system and your circulatory system are in large measure connective tissue. And this connective tissue issue with blood pressure is especially relevant for the lungs. The heart pumps blood into the lungs. That's the first place that the heart pumps blood into. And if the arteries are breaking down, or the blood or the lymph are congested from too much toxicity, from food toxins, food poisons, digestive problems, or if there's long-term activation of your stress system, your stress nervous system, the so-called sympathetic nervous system, the blood isn't going to move through the lungs. And then pressure is going to build up there. That's going to cause an enlargement of the heart. It's going to create respiratory problems, including COPD, shortness of breath, and sleep apnea. Yes, if you have COPD, if you got shortness of breath, if you got respiratory problems, if you have sleep apnea, chances are pretty darn good that you're dealing with some kind of connective tissue breakdown. I said yesterday that connective tissue, which is dense in protein, is and looks to the immune system like food. From a chemical molecular standpoint, your connective tissue is food. We said yesterday how connective tissue is the site of immune attack. It's a site of autoimmunity. And all of these go hand in hand with lung problems and respiratory problems, lupus, scleroderma, mixed connective tissue disease, which are all basically the same type of thing. They're all immune system attacks on your connective tissue. They go hand in hand with respiratory problems. Now remember, folks, the connective tissue is half your body. So if you have an immune attack on the connective tissue, that means half of your body is likely to be messed up. That's a problem. That's a big problem. You guys, when there's an immune reaction going on in your connective tissue, it's like a war is going on in your body. It's a chemical war, literally a chemical war with damaged, wounded, and dead cells and pus and flesh-dissolving enzymes. I know it sounds gross, but that's what's happening. And even if it's happening on the microscopic level, it's still happening. When we have an autoimmune disease or we have immune attack on the connective tissue, we have a battle that's going on inside our body. And that means wounded dead warriors, wounded dead bodies, collateral damage. All the things that happen in a war are occurring inside of our body. And that means inflammatory factors that are produced to keep the whole battle sequestered, to create a wall around this battle area. Does that sound gross? Does that sound awful? Well, that's what's happening to our bodies. Can you picture connective tissue autoimmunity from a microscopic perspective? Put it in your mind's eye. It's one of the ugliest, most horrific biochemical sites you could ever imagine. Hang tight. I'll finish this up when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, Hey, everybody, Jason Lewis here with another great idea from JasonLewisTeam.com. Now, how would you like an energy drink that's actually good for you? That's right, one that not only gives you an afternoon pick-me-up, but that's loaded with the most important antioxidants for reducing the damage from stress. It's called Pollen Burst, and it's a natural burst of energy that lasts for hours. Now, most energy drinks rely on a massive dose of caffeine, sugar, or even vitamin B. Pollen Burst takes a more balanced approach, and that's why I like it. I also love the fact that Pollen Burst has plenty of vitamin D and green tea extract. This is the best energy drink I've ever tried. So trust me, you'll not only like it better than the others, you'll love the way it's individually packaged for freshness as well. They've got these on-the-go stick packs. They're great. Pollen Burst. It's available at JasonLewisTeam.com or simply call 1-855-310-TEAM for a natural burst of energy. It's Pollen Burst at JasonLewisTeam.com or 1-855-310-TEAM.
Amanda Bosold here from Midas Resources. Today, February 17th, 2014, gold opened at $1326.30. A 1-ounce gold coin can be purchased for $1374.33, $687.16 for a quarter ounce, or $343.58 for a quarter ounce. Again, that's $1374.33, $687.16, and $343.58.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? Wait a sec. Gold and silver is going up while Congress is trying to settle on the next debt increase, and there's no end to this madness. That old 401k and IRA can be converted into physical gold without tax consequences. I explained this in my book, 10 Reasons to Buy Gold. Don't let time slip away. Call for your free copy today, 800-686-2237. Get away from that Washington spin and get honest answers about gold. 800-686-2237. The book is free, 800-686-2237.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey Guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit GoBerkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey Guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products. Most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey Guy at GoBerkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com, home of the Berkey Guy.
Now you can get the same survival food U.S. Special Forces use on their toughest field missions. High-protein, high-energy, freeze-dried foods known as long-range patrol rations, or LRPs. Soldiers love LRP rations. They're lightweight and easy to carry. Easy to prepare by just adding water. Easy to enjoy because they taste great. Civilians love LRPs as a solution for emergency preparedness and recreational activities with limited storage space, such as hiking, climbing, sailing, or RV travel. Veteran-owned Freeze Dry Guy is your exclusive source for this 2013 U.S. military overrun. Long on nutrition, these delicious entrees have a long shelf life, lasting decades. But this rare opportunity, this limited supply, will not last long. You have to act now. Call 866-404-3663, 866-404-FOOD, or log on now to freezedryguy.com, freezedryguy.com.
Not just an alternative to the mainstream media. We're the premier independent talk radio network. We are GCN.
All right, welcome back to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben, and we're here Monday through Friday on The Bright Side, 8 to 9 Pacific, 10 to 11 Central, 24/7 on our archive page at brightsideben.com, where you will find a shopping cart as well as a Join the Team link that you can click on if you want to start a longevity business and make some money selling longevity products. You can also call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470. Okay. So we're talking connective tissue. We're talking the breakdown of connective tissue, which is half of the body. And when the body's attacked, when the connective tissue is being attacked by the immune system, it is just this horrific biochemical war that's going on inside the body. It is absolutely gross. It's filled with pus. It's filled with dead cells. The body has to wall that area off. That little area becomes an area of inflammation, a pocket of what's called ischemia, which is a lack of oxygen and a lack of food, a little pocket of starvation. You guys picture this in your head. It really is important. As disgusting as it sounds, it's really important to picture what's going on inside our bodies when our bodies are breaking down, and there's not a single thing a doctor can do for it. But there's lots that we can do for it. The bottom line here, folks, is no matter what our health condition is, for some reason the body is under some kind of duress. It's under some kind of stress. When the body's under attack, it doesn't feel safe. It can't feel safe when its survival's at stake, and that's what the body thinks when it's under attack. Now, where do these attacks come from? Leaving aside the psychological and the mental dimensions and the spiritual dimensions, which are important, in large part, as you know, if you've listened to this program, in large part, the body gets the attack, at least the perceived attack that the body's under, comes in from food, comes in from the digestive system. This is so important, you guys, from a food perspective, which is the most important perspective. The most important thing we could do to keep our connective tissue healthy, to keep the matrix, the connective tissue, muscle tissue matrix strong and powerful, the single most important thing we can do, and I'm talking if you have COPD, I'm talking if you have autoimmune disease, I'm talking if you have accelerated aging, I'm talking if you have osteoporosis, I'm talking if you have pretty much any degenerative disease, the single most important thing you could do to reduce the stress and the duress on the body from a physical perspective is, the two most important things to do is to make sure you're oxygenating and make sure you're controlling foods, especially staying away from pro-inflammatory foods, foods that spark or somehow initiate a defensive response. That means sugar, that means restaurant foods, that means processed foods, and that means anything that you have a hard time digesting. If you have food allergies or food intolerances, that's going to compromise the integrity of the muscle connective tissue complex fast. If you have leaky gut and the blood is being assaulted with immune system triggers and chemicals that it doesn't know what to do with, eventually those poisons are going to get deposited in the connective tissue, muscle tissue complex, and that deposition of toxins is going to cause breakdown and it's going to cause pain. This is where this kind of generalized achiness comes from. Generalized ache and pains. Doctors will call it fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia means muscle pain. That's all it means. Pain in the muscle fibers. And nothing will initiate or cause fibromyalgia more quickly than the deposition of poisons and toxins that are coming in from the digestive tract. Fibromyalgia is nothing more than a Latin term that means painful muscle fibers, and it's a precursor of a marker of an accelerated breakdown of connective tissue and muscle tissue and accelerated aging. There's also the estrogen component to muscle and connective tissue toxicity. Fibromyalgia is basically a female disease, and the same, by the way, is true about autoimmunity. Way more women are dealing with autoimmune diseases, and way more women deal with fibromyalgia than men, and this is where estrogen comes in. If you're a regular listener of this program, you know that estrogen's relationship to disease, you won't be surprised by this connection between estrogen and the disease, the degenerative disease process. But if you're not a regular listener, if you just stumbled onto this program accidentally or you're listening to this on YouTube, you may not know. You may think that estrogen is just a female hormone. Well, let me be very clear here. Estrogen is much more than a female hormone. Estrogen is dangerous stuff. And it's not, it's not an important hormone. Obviously it is. It's used by the body, however, in the most infinitesimal amounts, and the different types of estrogen are tightly regulated and tightly controlled. So you got to be able to control estrogen. That means controlling the stress response and making sure that you're metabolizing fats. Fat metabolism is so important when it comes to this deposition of poisons. Fats are very hard to process by the body anyway, under ideal conditions. But if you had a gallbladder taken out, you got liver problems, and 30% of Americans are dealing with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. You got to focus on fats and fat absorption. That means the ultimate enzymes after meals. That means using apple cider vinegar after meals. That means getting on the Biolumin Nightly Essence. The Biolumin Nightly Essence probiotics are not only have probiotics, not only have good bacteria for helping you process fats. It's one of the major benefits of good bacteria. They help you make fats and they help you process fats. Not only that, but the Biolumin Nightly Essence will also give you enzymes. Enzymes for cleaning up the blood. Enzymes for cleaning up clots. cloggy, sticky blood. In addition to avoiding dietary inflammatory foods and patching up the digestive tract, you want to make sure you're using glutamine and Z-radical and noni and bone soup. All of these are wonderful for building a healthy digestive tract lining and directly supporting the building of the digestive tract cells in the digestive tract. Protein is your best friend when it comes to building connective tissue, especially animal protein, whey and egg and meat, seafood, soy and hemp if you're a vegan. You're not going to get the same benefits from soy and hemp, however. You can do it, as I said before. If you're a vegan, you can do it. You can get the amino acids for building connective tissue and muscle tissue, but it's going to be much harder, and you got to be much more vigilant. You got to be much more careful if you're a vegetarian or a vegan that you're getting the amino acids for building the connective tissue and muscle tissue matrix. So you're going to stay away from inflammatory foods. You got to patch up the digestive tract. You got to use protein. You want to use coating and soothing substances like aloe and noni and the Z-radical. The Z-radical in particular is amazing. And don't forget vitamin C, which is like a switch that turns on the production of connective tissue. Zinc and vitamin A are also important. And we're talking here, folks, all connective tissue and muscle tissue building. We're talking building bone. We're talking building healthy, strong blood vessels. We're talking building healthy, strong lymphatic vessels. We're talking fighting wrinkles. We're talking improving heart health, as well as obviously improving the connective tissue in muscles, in tendons, in ligaments, in cartilage, and in vertebrae. If you're dealing with a health condition that affects any one of these connective tissue symptoms and you go to the doctor, more than likely you're going to end up with pain pills or anti-inflammatory pills or even worse, some kind of deadly poison like a beta blocker, a calcium channel blocker, or worst of all, Fosamax, so-called bisphosphonate drugs that shut down the body's ability to heal and remodel itself. If you're older, you might end up with an artificial knee or an artificial hip. You know how much money is made in artificial knees and artificial hips? They crank them out like in factory style. They have big hospital settings that are hospital setups that are designed just to replace knees and just to replace hips. They're usually owned by some corporation or one or two doctors, and they make $50,000 on a patient, and they've got 100 patients a month moving, 100 patients every couple of weeks moving in and out through these factories to replace knees, to replace hips. It's going to be a rare doctor who's going to focus on why bones and joints and muscles are breaking down. It's going to be a rare doctor who focuses on why connective tissue and muscle tissue are breaking down. It's going to be a rare doctor who suggests that you get on the Healthy Start Pack or you get enough of the raw materials and you're absorbing those raw materials that are required for building connective tissue and muscle tissue. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. Got so much more to say, and we'll take your phone calls when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this.
Did you know that organic sulfur can cleanse and defend your body against the poisons we're exposed to each day? Organic sulfur crystals from sulfurdefense.com help by forcing oxygen and nutrition into your cells while eliminating heavy metals, contaminants, and damaging radiation. Defend yourself and family from toxic assault with one of the most critical and essential minerals available today. Order online at sulfurdefense.com. That's sulfurdefense.com or call 800-593-6273.
I'm David Cordani, President and CEO of Cigna. We're proud to support the March of Dimes by walking in the March for Babies. It feels great to know that the money we raise funds life-saving research and programs that improve the health of babies. With your help, we can make this year better than ever. Join Cigna and our coworkers across the country in March for Babies to help more moms have full-term pregnancies and healthier babies. Start your team today at marchforbabies.org and march to help our babies. Thank you.
We live in a complicated society. Stressful issues are always popping up. Have you ever been treated unfairly by someone? Have you ever been overcharged for a repair? Have you ever signed a contract or a document? Worried about identity theft? How many times have you been in those unique situations where you just wanted to call an attorney to find out if you're right or wrong, or what your legal rights are? But every time you think about calling an attorney, what do you think about first? That's right. Who do you call, and how much will it cost? Our friends at Legal Shield have found a solution. With a nationwide network of 6,900 attorneys who average over 19 years of experience, Legal Shield's law firms take over 40,000 calls per week helping their members. For less than $20 per month, you can have access to Legal Shield on everything from the trivial to the traumatic. Let Legal Shield stand up for your rights at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com. Or call 855-340-SAVE, 855-340-7283.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right. General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for under $30,000. You heard right. That's 5,000 square feet under $30,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100 foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait. So call 866-91-STEEL. Lock in your price now. Take delivery in spring. 866-91-STEEL. That's 866-917-8335.
In the U.S., 1 in every 50 homes will have a break-in this year. Burglars call it smash and grab. Police call it robbery. We call it avoidable. We are Fake TV, a simple electronic device that can fool even professional burglars. Fake TV easily plugs into any outlet and simulates the changing colors of a television. To a burglar, it looks like someone must be home watching TV, so they'll likely move on to an easier target. At only $29.95, Fake TV costs less than a month of most alarm monitoring plans and comes with free shipping. Order your Fake TV by calling 877-5-FAKE-TV or go to faketv.com. That's 877-532-5388 or faketv.com. Fake TV, the burglar deterrent.
Great news, pure water lovers. BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com has a special discount offer for all GCN listeners. You can't do better than a Big Berkey for economy. For only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. There's none better than a Big Berkey for emergency preparedness as a backup water source. And you just can't beat a Big Berkey to remove dangerous chlorine, all types of fluoride, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, parasites, and unhealthy byproducts from municipal water. Berkey water filter systems are even powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. For the gold standard in water filters, get a Big Berkey at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And all GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. For details, call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Free from the shackles of corporate America, we're the place for independent thinkers. GCN.
All right, we're back on the bright side. We'll continue talking about the importance of protein on our next Brightside episode, the importance of dietary protein. Protein, everybody knows how important protein is, but still, you got people saying that it's overrated and you don't need a lot of protein and we get too much protein. I'm not convinced that that's the case, just from my personal experience and also the experience of my clients. It seems like most people feel better when they're getting more protein. Certainly you can lose weight by using more protein, and given the fact that connective tissue and muscle tissue are made up of protein in large part, it seems like it makes a lot more sense to make sure that you're getting enough protein than it is to focus on carbohydrates or even fats when it comes to the kinds of foods that we eat. Certainly staying away from pro-inflammatory foods, however. That's your most important strategy for building up connective tissue. We'll continue this discussion on our next Brightside episode, and we'll talk a little bit about weightlifting too, and how you can use weightlifting to build connective tissue. Then we're going to talk about hair. There's a very important relationship between hair and some of these building peptides that we've been talking about. If you've ever heard of the Brazilian blowout, we'll be talking about that in a couple of Brightside episodes. The Brazilian blowout is a hair treatment that a lot of women know about, and it employs, believe it or not, some of the amino acids that are important for building the body, building connective tissue. And I'll tell you what I mean when we continue this discussion on connective tissue and protein and peptides on the Brightside. Time to hit our phones at 855-660-4261. We do have a couple lines open for you if you want to try to squeeze in. Let's go out to Nevada and talk to Robert. What's up, Robert? Welcome to the Brightside.
Ben Bright, my nutritional savant. How are you, sir?
What's going on? How you doing, Robert?
I have to balance your feet every time I talk to you like everybody else. Boy, you got a big head down there in Colorado. I can see it from here.
I'm just a pharmacist, my man. I'm just a plain little old pharmacist guy. What's going on? How can I help you?
Whatever.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But how can I help you?
Yeah, two things. Can you give me the titles of one or two good books that you have personal experience with on proteins so I can do a little research?
I read textbooks. That's how I get my information. So I could give you some of the names of textbooks, but they don't really matter. But I'll tell you, what? One of the best basic books on protein is a book called Protein Power by a guy named Michael Eads, who's a physician here in Colorado. I think he's in Boulder, actually. Eades, and he has a series of books about protein. But the basic book, the first book that he came out with, is called Protein Power, and it's a wonderful book about protein. And then there's a couple of paleo books. And I'm not really big on the whole paleo thing for a couple of reasons, but there are some good paleo books that talk about protein. A guy named Rob Wolf talks about protein a lot. That's WOLFF. There's a couple that come to mind. Protein Power is probably my go-to source. That was one of the first books I read that talked about the importance of dietary protein. Dr. Michael Eads. He's got a website, too, with a lot of good information. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You went over proteins deeply in December. I got to go back in your archives and review those.
I'll be talking about more next week, too.
Cool. Second thing is, I'm 5'9", about $190, 53 years old.
Weightlifter? Are you lifting weights?
No, I haven't tested weights lately, but I plan on. I'm going to get a membership pretty quick. My last time I checked my blood pressure, which was several months ago, was 140/90, so that's high. I think I'm hypo or hyperglycemic because I get up in the middle of the night and pee, and I wake up, so my sugar's all over the place.
All right. You got some work to do. You got some work to do, Robert.
Yeah.
All right. You want some help? I don't need any more of the grim details. I get the picture there. Do you want some help with all that?
Yeah.
All right, first things first. We'll make you we'll just use you as a poster child for how you handle this.
The BTT is obvious.
The BTT is obvious, but you got to focus on anything that's getting into any pro-inflammatory stuff that's getting into the body. That's always the first thing.
Yeah.
So if you have any you want to look for digestive problems. I mean, they go under the radar, so you may have to start paying attention. After 50 years, a lot of things go under the radar. We start to tune things out. So you got to really focus on digestive problems, and it's in your interest to find them. So if you have gas or bloating, heartburn, any kind of bowel movement problems, anything like that, it's in your interest to find them. Link them up to foods, okay? That's number one. Secondly, make sure that you're staying away from anything that spikes your blood sugar. That's the second most. Next to controlling stabilizing the digestive system, controlling blood sugar is the most important thing to do. That means more protein.
Cut down on coffee so I can get out.
Well, hang on. Hang on, Robert. Coffee's not the end of the world. There's a lot more important things to focus on than the coffee, especially sugar. So bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, starchy foods, fruit juice, desserts, all of those you want to stay away from as best as possible. I'm not saying that you have to be zero tolerance, although that would be great, but just weaning yourself off of those and replacing the intake, the caloric intake, the calories that you're getting from those kinds of foods with protein, especially whey protein and egg protein, which are your two most important building proteins. Meat protein's okay if you can, make sure that the meat's organic and hormone-free and all that, but really whey and egg should be the core of your protein intake, and then seafood as well. But these days, unfortunately, of course, you got to be careful of seafood. So whey and egg, seafood, and meat. Those should be the core of your where you're getting your protein from, and then making sure you get fats too, especially essential fatty acid fats. Ultimate EFAs, I'd be doing 9 or so of those a day. And then the third important point on our triangle, because that's what we're really working with here, is the adrenal glands. And the blood sugar thing is going to help stabilize the adrenal glands, but making sure you're getting enough minerals and salt is also important. This is where the Healthy Start Pack that comes in. This is where all the plant-derived minerals come in, and this is also where Celtic sea salt can play a very important role, and Himalayan salt, where you put a teaspoon of Celtic sea salt in water, especially if you're craving salt. If you find yourself craving salt, that's a real indicator that your adrenal glands are stressed, and if the adrenal glands are stressed out, you're not going to be building. So you got three places to work, physically anyway. Food, staying away from pro-inflammatory food, stabilizing the blood sugar by using more protein, and essential fatty acids, the ultimate EFAs. It wouldn't hurt you to get on the sweeties in addition to the other stuff in the Healthy Start pack.
Yeah,
sweeties. And then also the Beyond Tangerine and Celtic sea salt and Himalayan salt. And make sure you're doing your deep breathing techniques. Make sure you're practicing what I call hot tub therapy, which is where you relax, where you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation nervous system, and I call it hot tub therapy, but you don't need a hot tub. Hot water is great, deep breathing is great, laying on the couch and relaxing is great. How cool is it, folks? And Robert, how cool is it that our body does its best work when we're laying down on the couch or when we're sinking in a hot tub? If you make this sound, listen to this sound. I'm going to make it right now. Listen to this sound. If you make that sound, you've activated the parasympathetic nervous system. Anything you can do to make that sound, and you can use your imagination of all the things you could do to make that sound like this. Just like that. Okay? If you go like this, like that, you've activated the sympathetic nervous system. And by the way, you need a little sympathetic activity. You need a little stress in your life because that's really what gets the impetus. That's really what initiates the growth, but the growth actually occurs when you're going, like that. And even just saying that, even just making that sound will activate the relaxation nervous system. Thanks so much for your call and your kind words, Robert. I appreciate it.
Thanks, bud.
All right, buddy. Be good. Have a beautiful day. All right, let's see who's next on the line. Go to Oregon and say hi to Gina. What's up, Gina? Welcome to the Brightside.
Hi. Good morning, Ben. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
And I just have one quick question for you.
Sure.
Can you help on the ingredients label for like skincare product and over-counter drugs, stuff like that? There's two items in there. One is active ingredient. Another one is inactive ingredient.
Oh, yes. I understand.
Yeah, can you?
You want an explanation on that? That's a great question.
Yeah.
I actually do a class.
Yeah, please do.
I actually do a class on how to read an ingredient deck on skincare products, and that's a very, very important question, Gina. I'm glad you brought that up. Hang tight, though. We got to take a break, okay? After you're on hold, we'll try to get to all our calls today. 855-660-4261 is our number. I am Pharmacist Ben, and you're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. We'll be back right after this.
Hello, it's Tom Chenault from The Tom Chenault Show. We are experts in home-based business and residual income. We show people how to make money from their home, either part-time or full-time. And in partnership with Genesis Communication Network, we've organized a team to fight back about people not having money, time, or health. And we need your help. What we want you to do is if you've got an interest in building an organization to fight back against people taking our money, taking our time, and taking our health, we want to talk to you. All you need to do is call this number, 855-308-8326. Again, all you want to do is call 855-308-8326. You can make a tremendous amount of money and end up fighting for a great cause. Please call us right now.
So we decided to upgrade the look of our home.
Improve the curb appeal.
We decided to add the look of stone to the exterior.
We really like the stacked stone look.
Yeah, but when I checked into the price, it was ridiculous. No way could we afford it.
Then a friend told me about Genstone. Genstone.
Genstone comes in lightweight panels made of polyurethane. They've actually engineered the hassle out of installation. No mortar, no mesh. It was easy. Even I could do it.
We just screwed the panels to the wall and it looks like stone. I mean, it really looks like stone.
Yeah, from the box to the wall in minutes.
We love the look of our home now.
And Genstone is durable, comes with a 25-year warranty, and offers additional R value for insulation.
If you want the look of stone at a price you can afford, call Genstone
at 855-955-STONE.
Trust me, you'll save money.
And you'll love the look.
855-955-STONE. That's 855-955-7866.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, listen carefully. Sweeping changes to IRS policies will help more people than ever eliminate their tax debts once and for all. And now, thanks to Dan Pilla, you can get the tax help you need to end your tax nightmare.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I've helped thousands of people reduce or eliminate tax debts they couldn't pay. And after more than 30 years of experience dealing with the IRS, I can tell you there's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. With the IRS's new policies, it's easier than ever to put your tax debt behind you once and for all. Call now at 800-346-6829 to learn how I can help you. You know your IRS debt will not go away by itself, but you don't have to live in fear anymore. Call 800-346-6829. Learn how I can help you eliminate wage and bank levies, release tax liens, and negotiate a settlement with the IRS that will put your tax nightmare behind you forever. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, taxhelponline.com. That's taxhelponline.com.
We all know that Berkey water purification systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light system today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at GoBerkey.com. That's GoBerkey.com today.
The nation's largest independently owned and operated talk radio network. The Genesis Communications Network. GCN.
On the bright side, hey, Gina in Oregon. We're talking to Gina about ingredient decks. Gina, I'm going to go real fast because I got a bunch of folks on the line. I wanted to try to get everybody in. Okay. So that's a very good question about the ingredient decks. First of all, everybody should be reading ingredient decks. Thanks. Good point, Gina. And I'm glad to see that you're an ingredient deck reader. It shows that you're a smart consumer. We all need to be reading these ingredient decks. There's 2 kinds of drugs. There are 2 classes of drugs. There's over-the-counter drugs, and these are the kind of drugs that you get in a drugstore over the counter, obviously. And then there's behind-the-counter drugs, and those are the drugs you need a prescription for. The over-the-counter drugs, by mandate of the FDA, have to have their ingredients divided into 2 sections. One section is called active ingredients, and these are the ingredients in the over-the-counter drug, the antihistamine or the cough syrup or whatever it is you're buying, sunscreen. Sunscreens are over-the-counter drugs. The active ingredient will tell you what is actually the medicine in the product. The inactive ingredients will tell you what are the so-called excipients or the vehicles or the carriers or the non-active ingredients. And this is how you can tell whether something is being regulated by the FDA as a drug. You look on the back, and if you see it has 2 types of ingredients, active ingredients and inactive ingredients, then you know that is a substance that is regulated as a drug, and it is being licensed and watched over by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. So look on the back. If you see active ingredient, inactive ingredients, you know you got yourself an over-the-counter drug. The inactive ingredients are not necessarily inactive. They just don't do the medicinal thing that the product is supposed to do, but you can still have inactive ingredients that are doing something, and that just because they're called inactive doesn't mean they're inert. It doesn't mean they don't do anything at all. It just means they don't have any medicinal value in terms of what that product is supposed to do. But you still got to pay attention, in my opinion, to inactive ingredients, especially preservatives like the parabens, which are considered to be inactive ingredients. The active ingredient, when you see, first of all, if you see a division between active and inactive, you know you got a drug. The active ingredient will tell you what the medicinal compound is, and the inactive ingredient will tell you what the vehicle or the carrier or the excipient ingredients are. Does that help you, Gina?
Yeah, and can I have one more question pretty quick?
Sure,
so let's say if I see the compound, in the under the inactive ingredients, like for example, glycolic acid, does it mean it's not going to be effective for?
No. It just means it's not part of the medicinal value. It doesn't contribute to the medicinal value of the product. If it's in there in the inactive, it can still do something, but it's not going to do something in terms of what the product is supposed to do. It may have another type of effect. Glycolic acid typically, however, isn't going to be found in a drug product, I don't think. Or did you see it in a drug product, an over-the-counter drug?
No, not the drug, but some skincare product I'm looking at. So that's why I want to ask.
Skincare products are not the only skincare products that will have inactive active division on the ingredient deck are things like hemorrhoid products, maybe eczema or itch products, burn products, acne products, sunscreens. Other than that, you're not cosmetic products for wrinkles and that kind of thing. You're not going to find that division of inactive and active. I got to move on, Gina.
Okay.
I got to move on. Thanks so much for your call. Appreciate it. I hate leaving you guys on hold, so I'm going to try to get to everybody here today. But we'll have to move fast. Mindy in Ohio, what's up? Welcome to the Brightside.
This is fantastic. I think fate brought me to my ears to your wise words.
Oh, I appreciate that. What's going on?
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I've actually been living like the lifestyle you're talking about for like 20 years. You know what I mean? Yeah, it just starts slow, and then, as I learn more and everything, then you're fantastic. The bone soup, I've been doing that for years, but I didn't know to put the apple cider vinegar in it.
Nice, good. I'm glad I helped you on that. It helps dissolve the cartilage.
Right, yep. I've been just started listening to archiving you, and I'll make it quick. But what's going on, I think, like what you said, Robert, earlier, I think I've got the enough protein, and the blood sugar I'm not quite sure about, but a couple months ago, I just started getting vomiting, nausea.
Okay.
And I know that my diet I have to watch, because I can't say I don't cheat and have pizza or something,
Do you have nausea after? Do you get nauseous after pretty much anything you eat, kind of thing, or?
Mostly every morning. Now the thing is, since I've been listening to you the last month or something, and I've had every test possible. What am I going to do? I did it, but I'm not going to do it anymore. But they can't find anything. And the thing is, I'm on lockdown now. I'm doing what you're telling me. I'm actually on my way I should have stopped in the parking lot to listen, because I'm on the way to get, I know I think the EFAs I need and the adrenal glands. I think that's my problems in there, because I'm 46.
Give me a question, Mindy. Put a question mark at the end of the statement so I can help you out.
Okay. What am I missing or lacking? Or I have too much? I'm hyper all the time.
You're hyper all the time?
Nauseated every morning. And
okay.
I eat right. I slacked on the exercise has gone down because you said no stress. I'm doing a hot tub. I'm doing all. I think
it sounds like something is getting into your system that's burdening the body. It sounds like some kind of adrenal stress. Now, you probably know if you've been listening to the program, there's all these dimensions to health. We always talk about the physical dimension, but you have to address the spiritual and mental and emotional components too. And I know I don't say it enough, but it's extremely important. Those need to be addressed. In fact, they're primal.
I totally agree.
They're more fundamental than the nutrition, as much as I love the nutrition aspect, you guys know I love the nutrition and the chemistry. The spiritual and the mental and emotional are fundamental and primal. And so if you have any issues like that, those need to be addressed. From a physical perspective, something's still getting into your system that's causing some distress, and I'm not sure what that would be. And the only way to know is to food is the most likely suspect. It always is the first thing that you want. It's like, when the wife gets murdered, the husband, it doesn't mean the husband did it, but that's the first guy they go to.
Yep.
And it's like that with food. When there's a distress in the body, it doesn't mean it's always going to be food, but that's the first place you want to look. The digestive system is the first place to look. So it might not be a bad idea for you to take 2 or 3 days off, or 1 or 2 days off, at least from food entirely. Do a 1 day or 2 day fast, and I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to talk about fasting next week.
But I lost 11 pounds.
Doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about losing weight unless you get emaciated. You don't have to worry about losing weight. Most of us don't have a problem. How much do you weigh?
109.
And how tall are you?
5'5".
You're not. That's not incredibly unhealthy. Do you have any body fat on you, or are you lean and mean?
No, I'm right lean and mean, because I just
okay. Well, if you take a day off from food, it's not gonna be the end of the world for you. In fact, 1 day off of food actually helps you build some muscle mass, which I'll be talking about next week. But you have to hit the reset button in order to figure out what the heck's going on in your system. And the only way to hit the reset button is to stop eating for a day or two, and then reintroduce foods, especially your favorite foods. This is the best way to detect a food problem: is to clear the decks. Take a day off from food, hit the reset reset button, and then spend the next day eating your favorite food. Only that food. If you love bread, just spend all day eating bread. If you love pasta, spend all day eating pasta. You love ice cream, spend all day eating ice cream. So it's like a reverse elimination diet, and it's a lot easier to do. And you'll find that among your first 2 or 3 or 4 favorite foods, you're going to find that's typically where your problem is going to be. And then you eliminate that food, and then you go live normally for a week or so, and then you do the same thing again. Take a day or 2 off from food, and then reintroduce another food in there and see what it is. If you're okay with that food, then that food is okay. If you're not, you eliminate that food, and you keep going. And it's a game, it's a puzzle, but trying to figure it out is the most important thing you can do. And the fact that you're nauseous and you have you wake up in the morning queasy, and after you eat certain foods, that's telling me that you're not absorbing nutrients, and that can be a significant problem. So it's really important that you get down to the bottom of this thing. If you're not doing deep breathing techniques, by the way, that's very important. If you're not doing working on the adrenal glands, it sounds like you have some adrenal stress, that might be something that you want to focus on. Celtic sea salt, vitamin C. Vitamin C is the primal panacea, as Dr. Thomas Levy calls it. That means it's good for everything, maybe a gram or two twice a day, so you're up to 4 grams or so a day of vitamin C. Of course, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is a must-have. It's just a must-have for everybody, but especially if you're dealing with some kind of physical stress, some kind of physiologic stress. The nausea is a little bit troubling. It tells me that there's something going on in the digestive tract, and that would be something that you want to focus on. I got to move on, Mindy. I apologize. I want to see if I can squeeze a couple more calls in. Jim in Michigan, what's going on? How you doing?
Hey, Ben. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I've got about a minute, man. Got to go fast, or maybe we can call back up.
Real quickly, at 16, I had an injury, had my meniscus and the supporting cartilage removed. I'm 65 now, having problems with my knee. Can I build that meniscus?
Heck yes.
Is it possible?
Oh, well, if it's torn, I can't say on the phone because I don't know how bad the damage is, but just generally building connective tissue, as we've been talking about, there's a lot of things you could do. Most importantly, you got to stay away from any kind of foods that cause inflammation or activate your defenses, your immune system. That means, of course, as I said earlier, sugar, restaurant food, processed food, boxed food. If there's a commercial for it, it's probably a food you want to stay away from. And then finding foods that are specifically causing you distress, eliminating those foods, bowel movement problems, gas, bloating. All these are signs that you're having problems with a specific type of food, and those you need to stay away from. And then building up the connective tissue using nutritional supplements. Protein is the key player, but so is vitamin C, so is the glucogel, the Longevity Glucogel caps that has the amino acids for building connective tissue, as well as the gelatin. Essential fatty acids are important. You probably want to get on the Healthy Start Pack, and certainly the Beyond Tangy Tangerine can be a lot of help as well. And I'm sorry that we went so fast, Jim. There's so much more I wanted to tell you, but if you call back on Monday and tell the call screener we left you on hold, we'll get you first up. And if we left you on hold, I apologize to you as well. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thanks so much for listening, folks. Have a wonderful, awesome, beautiful day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.
Now you can get the same survival food U.S. Special Forces use on their toughest field missions. High-protein, high-energy, freeze-dried foods known as long-range patrol rations, or LRPs. Soldiers love LRP rations. They're lightweight and easy to carry. Easy to prepare by just adding water. Easy to enjoy because they taste great. Civilians love LRPs as a solution for emergency preparedness and recreational activities with limited storage space, such as hiking, climbing, sailing, or RV travel. Veteran-owned Freeze Dry Guy is your exclusive source for this 2013 U.S. military overrun. Long on nutrition, these delicious entrees have a long shelf life, lasting decades. But this rare opportunity, this limited supply, will not last long. You have to act now. Call 866-404-3663, 866-404-FOOD, or log on now to freezedryguy.com, freezedryguy.com.
Big business has discovered the preparedness market, and that makes it difficult to know where to go and who to trust. MyPatriotSupply.com is owned and operated by patriots just like you, has the best prices on storable food, non-GMO seeds, water filtration devices, home canning equipment, survival and self-reliance books, and more. MyPatriotSupply.com has old-fashioned values and the absolute best customer service in the industry. Look for the deal of the day, unique, affordable survival survival supplies that fit anyone's budget. Get same-day shipping on all orders and free shipping on orders over $49. Call 866-229-0927, 866-229-0927, or visit mypatriotsupply.com for emergency preparedness, self-reliance, and food independence. Shop with a name you know and a name you can trust. Before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare. mypatriotsupply.com.